What's that sound? It's For Amusement Only, the EM and Bingo Pinball Podcast. Welcome back to For Amusement Only. This is Nick Baldridge. Tonight I wanted to talk about a really unusual 6-card bingo. 1952's Frolics from Bally. This is the game that followed Palm Beach, which you've heard about a couple nights ago. And Frolics, being a 6-card, is relatively straightforward, or it would be. So let's go over the straightforward gameplay first. The first thing that you do, of course, with any bingo is you put in a nickel, and it's going to light one or more of the cards. This is unlike some of the much more straightforward 6-card bingos that came before and after, where each nickel was guaranteed to light an additional card. So when you drop in a nickel, it can light one or more cards, and as you drop in additional nickels, it will guaranteed light one or more cards. So your goal is to get 3, 4, or 5 in a row on any of the cards that you have lit, and that will earn you a certain amount of replays. And we'll go over those in a second. Now, remember that a 6-card, each of the cards is made up of the same 25 numbers, just in different arrangements. So it's quite possible to get 3 in a row on one card and get it on another card at the same time, because the same numbers are lit on each card as you make them. And this is what makes the 6-card bingos the most straightforward, in my opinion. It's the most like actual bingo. You increase your chances of winning with each additional card that you purchase. Now, here's what happens when you win. If you get 3 in a row, you only earn 3 replays, no matter the card. If you earn 4 in a row on any card, you earn 16 replays. And if you get 5 in a row on any card, you get 50 replays. And so you may be saying to yourself, well, that's pretty weird. I've been listening to the show for almost 300 episodes now. And he may have talked about 1 or 2 games which were not true bingos that only scored in the double digits, but never a true bingo, much less a 6-card, that only awarded you 50 replays maximum. Well, you're right. This machine has its own special feature called the superscore. Now, the superscore is an extra lamp which is lit above each individual card. It's lit on mystery intervals and can be lit above cards that you don't have yet. So, for example, you plop in 1 nickel, it starts the game, it lights card number 1. You plop in your second nickel, it lights card number 2 and lights the superscore on card number 3. Well, your next nickel is guaranteed to get card number 3, and you may get another mystery award of a superscore. Now, what does that do? Well, this is one of the few multi-card bingos that has advancing odds. We've talked about a few of the early bingos that had advancing odds, which are unusual creatures in and of themselves. But this one is really unusual because it has odds steps, which will allow you to win up to a maximum of 200 replays, which is much more like it, right? So, here's how this works. Those odds will step at mystery intervals as well. So your basic superscore winner for 3 in a row is 4 replays, right? So you get 1 additional replay for a superscore win than you get for a regular 3 in a row win. From there, it steps up to 6 replays, 8 replays, 12 replays, and all the way up to 16 replays. So keep in mind that the 4-in-a-line score without the superscore lit is 16, and your maximum 3 in a row for a superscore is 16. So already, if you have your superscore matched and you make your winner 3 in a row, you've done better than if you just got a 4 in a row. So your 4-in-a-line wins step from 24 to 26, 48, 72, and remember your maximum 5 in a row was 50 replays, so it's already better than that for 4 in a row. And then it tops out at 96. Your 5 in a row goes from 50 to 75 to 100 to 150, all the way up to 200. So it makes a lot of sense to try and play for the superscore. And of course, this is a multi-coin game. It's not a max 6-coin game. So you can keep plopping in nickels until the superscore lights on every card if you feel like it. And until you get the odds stepped up to where you want. Now, this game also had a rollover feature. And you'll remember that there's a yellow or a red rollover, which will light. And they're down in the bottom third of the playfield to the left and right. It is very tricky to steer your ball so that it rolls over one of those, especially intentionally. But it's quite doable. It's much harder to steer your ball all the way down to the ball return, but it is quite doable. So, what happens if you hit one of those rollovers? Well, there's no time tree because there's no moving numbers on this game. So, what it does is it will carry over a feature to the next game that you start. It will actually step the odds all the way up automatically for your next game, which is pretty convenient. If you don't have to coin in however many it takes for it to step up to 200, that's pretty good. Of course, you still have to pay for your super scores, but hey, every little bit helps, right? So, another thing that's unusual about this game, being a 6-card, it has an extra ball feature. And you can get up to 2 extra balls. With 7 chances on any of the cards, with advancing odds, and with a super score, this game looks fantastic. There is a lot to shoot for, and that's without the typical 6-card features of corners and super lines and so forth. It just looks phenomenal. So let's talk about the artwork. The back glass has an explosion of curtains. I mean, there are 3 different kinds of curtains on this thing. So, they're in the front. There are green curtains with a yellow fringe. Up above, there's kind of the masking curtain that is pink or purple. And in the background, you have a blue curtain hiding the back stage area. In the foreground, you have 5 ladies, each dressed identically. Again, in some kind of burlesque or beauty contest. I'm not really sure which, but they're all holding bubbles, which is reminiscent of burlesque. Each of them has a hat, which is shaped like a heart, and that hat contains the 5 in a row odds. The ball I was talking about contains your 4 in a row, and then each of them is standing on a platform, and the platform contains your 3 in a row odds. Up at the top you have Bally Frolics, which is pulled out with stage lights or marquee lights around it. Very attractive. Of course, that's something that we've seen before with 1951's Broadway, and also with bright lights. Your bingo cards are each a different color. And at this point, they were using the white circles behind the numbers instead of matching colors for the circles. Down at the bottom, below the platforms, you have the extra ball feature spelled out. This backglass is great. There's a lot of bright coloration. It looks very good. So, as far as the cabinet goes, this cabinet has 3 kind of arches that extend from the cabinet all the way up the side of the back box. And then it's got these kind of weird looking paisley things that I'm not describing this well, but these little arched things meet up with the arches on the side of the cabinet and on the left and right side of the coin door. Now, the playfield is obviously a big musical number going on while the ladies are dancing. And you can see ladies in various costumes and outfits dancing around. Up at the top, you have a couple ladies in evening gowns with a staff holding musical notes underneath. That arches across the playfield. Under the staff, you have yet another curtain. This one is green. And below that, you have the stage that a large number of ladies are dancing on. Over on the right-hand side, you have a blonde woman who is throwing her head back and laughing really hard, just having the time of her life, while she stomps on the band members who are down at the bottom. This playfield artwork is pretty cool. I think it looks pretty good. At this point, they were still using the white light towers, which are split in the front and smaller than the red-topped light towers. The rollover stars are on the left and right. In the normal positions, red on the left, yellow on the right. And it's marked above them, highest super scores next game, if hit, win lit. So I believe it will light one or the other of these at random. And this is yet another feature that must be earned. It's not just given to you at the start of the game. You have to pay money to see it happen. Overall, I think this is a very intriguing game, and it's one of the most intriguing 6 cards just from a gameplay perspective. I think it would be a lot of fun to play this and really try to get the replays up, because it would be incredibly difficult to do so. You would have to really, really be skilled at shooting for the numbers on each card, because your target's really going to change based on which super scores are lit. And I'm sure the game is fairly liberal as far as giving the super scores, or it may even be adjustable. But even with that, you're unlikely to plop in $1 in nickels, 20 nickels, trying to light your best odds and your super scores all the way up. And that means that you're playing with low numbers, and you're trying to get a large number of replays quickly. But that's very hard to do, consistently especially. At least for me. So I think this would be an incredibly challenging and fun game to have in a home environment where you could really, really play. Couple that with the wood rail cabinet, and I happen to like the gameplay of the wood rail bingos quite a bit. I think you've got a winner. Well, that's all for tonight. Thank you very much for joining me. My name again is Nick Baldridge. You can reach me at foramusementonlypodcast@gmail.com, or you can call me on the Bingos line at 724-BINGOS1. 724-246-4671. You can listen to us on iTunes, Stitcher, Pocket Cast, via RSS, on Facebook, on Twitter at Bingo Podcast. You can follow me on Instagram, also at Bingo Podcast. Or you can listen to us on our website, which is foramusementonly.libsyn.com. Thank you very much for listening, and I'll talk to you next time.